The magical French contrast method. What is it? Does it work? And should you use it? Let's dig into it. So one, what is it? So the French contrast method is just a complex of a heavy lift followed by a few variations of jumps. So it's a heavy lift followed by an accelerated jump, an unloaded jump or plyometric, and then a loaded jump or plyometric. All right? So that's what it is in a nutshell. And you would run that for a block, 3, 4, 6 weeks, whatever it is. Does it work? And the answer is yes, it does work. You're lifting heavy, you're getting a high force output movement, and you're getting a lot of jumping volume, all right? The reason it's effective is one, you are training things that athletes need, both strength and velocity dominant, but you're also giving them different stimuli from what you've probably done. You've typically probably done one of these, say per session, and that's something I recommend. But what really makes this effective is the increased volume of jumping for that short time, right? It goes back to the SAID principle, right? That's Exercise Science 101, specific adaptation to imposed demands. The body will get better at what you ask it to do. So if you ask it to do explosive things more than it has to this point, guess what? It's going to get better at that because you've emphasized it. So why not do this all the time? Because that much jumping volume all the time, it's going to lose its effectiveness and it's going to be too much over time. You're going to start to get things like shin splints and knee tendonitis, and we got to be careful with our jumping volume because it can be taxing. All right, so it does work, but save it for later. And that's when you use it. It's probably the last 4 weeks of your off season with advanced level athletes. Beginners, lower level intermediates, they just don't need that much direct volume. Keep it general. So really squeeze all the juice out of your more basic programming. Save this for late in the game. Also, you don't want to use your ace card. Let's say this is very effective. You want to save your ace card for later. Why use it early? Burn it when they don't have as much strength and coordination for that output. Save it for later in the game when they're more advanced, when they can really get something out of it. Don't be in such a rush to use your best tools. Save it for later. So that's when I would use it. So let's take a look at an example, all right? So we have a heavy lift. In this case, we're doing a trap bar deadlift, say 85% for 2 to 3 reps, all right? Then we're gonna go to our accelerated jump. In this case, would be a band-assisted jump where we're using the elasticity of the band to really pop off the ground quickly and really work that kind of reaction off the ground. Then an unloaded jump, pairing that with hurdle hops. Box jumps would be another one. Another different stimulus, less assisted, more they have to just produce that force. And then a loaded jump, in this case a barbell squat jump, a little more force dominant. So we're up and down the force velocity curve. Something a little faster, less fast, a little more force dominant, a little more force dominant. Pair that with your heavy lift, all right? The exact order of the jumps does not matter. I get this question all the time. Well, I've seen it written as this order or that order. Look, the accumulated volume and the stimulus applied in the 10 minutes this is going to take is going to be exactly the same. Whether you do the loaded jump first or last, whether you do the unloaded jump first or last, you're going to do the same amount of volume in the same amount of time. The net stimulus applied will not be any different to the point where it changes the ultimate result, the adaptation. Stimulus, adaptation. The order is not going to change the stimulus so much that the end adaptation is different, all right? If you believe that, you're way overthinking that, I promise you. So order doesn't matter. Save it for the last 4 weeks or so for your most advanced athletes. I wouldn't even bother with this for several years of training. And yeah, it does work. Here's what it is, all right? So there's the magic French contrast in a nutshell. Like anything else, it works, and it works until it doesn't. It works best for the right populations, and it only works until it doesn't, just like everything else. So understand the tool, learn how to use it in your toolbox, and use it to make your athletes better. Hope that helps.